Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the UPR Unpopular Review, SmackDown Review. And we have laid the SmackDown on 2020, and we're welcoming in 2021. And we're going to do it in style. As you can see, Evil Dose is not alone. We've been celebrating the New Year nonstop for 36 hours here in the Darker Order of Tartarus. And with me is La Sicaria. She's in a party dress, as you can see. Hasn't even changed her clothes. That's how hard we've been going. But we're not here alone because we're a little bit drunk still. So with us are the technician, David Sanderson.
Hello, how's it going? How you doing tonight, Jeff?
Hi, Dave. How are you? Now, are you old enough to drink yet?
Technically, no. And, technically, I'm not even supposed to be on the show tonight. So that leads me to my my
Child
next
labor laws?
You lead the way, Jeff.
Okay. All right. Well, in Tartarus, you're old enough to drink, so it's okay. All right. Also with us, we have making her unpopular review debut, and I'm sure you're going to give her a warm unpopular review welcome, is Beatrice.
Hi, everybody.
How's it going, Beatrice? Welcome to Unpopular Review. Very first time on the SmackDown Results edition of the show.
What an auspicious time to meet us, January 1st.
Exactly.
Yeah.
New year, new hosts, new people. I am so excited for what this year has in store. Beatrice, welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic.
Excellent. What La Sicaria has taught me is that New Year's Eve is an excellent time to murder people because the authorities are very busy and they've already been stretched in with this pandemic thing. So you don't even have to work hard to make the bodies disappear. So pro tip for you guys next year. Do we have the instigator with us also? I heard a rumor he was here.
Yes, we do. We have the instigator with us here. We actually no, it's not the instigator. It's the kingpin. Don't have him here tonight.
Wow.
Dylan, welcome to the
show. Got a promotion.
Resolution season.
So,
you need some help reaching
all right. Well, happy New Year, King. Apparently, you got a promotion to head of the crime land.
David, I don't have COVID. I just had to open up my sinuses.
Oh my God! There we go.
Okay, great story. All right.
Yeah,
so,
good to know, man. Well, before you guys get started here, I'm actually going to bow out, as I am not on tonight's show. But, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're sharing this show to all your wrestling timelines and platforms. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Unpopular Review. And I will see you on Monday for Raw.
Wait,
and,
I have an important question. Did you put a white shirt in with a red shirt in, and that's why your shirt is pink?
Why does it matter that my shirt's pink? You get on me about that. It's American Eagle, okay? Respect the brand. Respect the brand. All right. Good night, guys.
Do they sell men's clothes there?
What's up?
Do they sell men's clothes there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So we've lost David. That's really unfortunate. Everyone do the We Lost David dance. Woo! All right. So listen. SmackDown started off very confusing for me because I got a Ring of Honor commercial in my marketplace and it was really confused. The Ring of Honor was about to start. Hopefully the rest of you didn't. But SmackDown opened up with a recap of the TLC match and the steel cage match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. And then it opens with, of course, Roman's music starting, flanked by Paul Heyman and Jey Uso.
Did his music change yet?
What's that?
Did Roman's music change yet?
Nope, it's still the same.
I know at some point he's supposed to change it. He said that in an interview.
I did hear that. I did hear that indeed. So Roman says, Happy New Year. He says 2020 has been a tough year, but basically the head of the table makes it work because that's what he does. Why do you think I wear a gold glove? Because everything I do touches the gold, turns to gold, sort of a King Midas thing there. He used Jey as an influence, best year of his career. Now that you know how Roman's mind works, and it's no longer which one is that. At which point they're interrupted by Kevin Owens' music, and Roman basically berates him, saying, "You're like a roach that won't die." So before I move on forward, hey, Beatrice, you're the new host. Tess, do you have anything to add at this moment?
No, actually, I think that he plays heel very well since he actually not only sat there and told Owens that he was a roach that won't die, but he also told production not to turn off Kevin Owens' music.
And they listened.
Exactly.
Yes. Chris Harris is scared of Sonya and AEW. Hello, Ever. I think she means everyone. Yeah, I know. The evil dose knows. Say hello.
Hello, how are you?
The greatest king is here. Elvis is in the building. Excellent. Dylan, Kingpin, do you have anything to add to the show at this moment?
No, I missed the first hour. I fell asleep.
Okay. So
I looked up the spoilers on it, though, so.
That's all right. So basically, Kevin Owens' retort is that, yeah, of course you're embarrassed that I'm here, Roman, because it shows that you and your family have failed in trying to get rid of me. The big dog is gone and replaced with the giant bitch, which Kevin Owens said bitch a couple times. So this is that new edgy adult content that we've been promised. In any event, Kevin says, don't worry, Roman, I'm not here for you. I'm here for Jey Uso. And the main event is going to be me against Jey. But then he says he's got to go find someone to make the match official. So it's not necessarily going to be him with Jey. I, at this point, typed Jimmy coming, question mark. No. Spoiler alert, no Jimmy Uso. All right. Anyone else to talk about that segment before we get into the next segment?
I knew Kevin Owens would beat Roman. He really hasn't been taken serious as a main eventer since 2017. So it wasn't believable that he was going to beat Roman. I think if we're going to look at someone who's going to eventually beat Roman, it's got to be Daniel Bryan or Biggie.
Very possible, or whoever wins the Royal Rumble. But yeah, that story's yet to be told.
I'm winning the Rumble. I can see Biggie and Bryan winning.
Big E is showing some signs of maybe a heel turn, which leads me to believe he's going to hold that Intercontinental title for a while. But we shall see. That will play out. Beatrice, any thoughts on this or maybe SmackDown?
I was actually, for overall SmackDown, it wasn't pretty bad. I was actually excited that Sonya came back, even though I would have liked to have seen her at least come out to the ring and say something about her return. And I'm kind of confused about Billie Kay. Is she doing like a face turn? Because 1 minute she was on Tamina and Natalia's side, and all of a sudden she's on Riot Squad's side.
Well, we're going to get to that in a little bit. We'll try and cover the show a bit in order. But yeah, the Sonya spotting and leading to nothing was interesting, but left a little bit disappointing. But maybe this is their version of a cliffhanger. Wasn't quite as obnoxious as Randy Orton with a lit match, so who knows? But yeah, I was sort of expecting her to maybe come out and maybe knock Billie Kay out from behind or something. Anyway, before we get to commercial, we see Big E coming to the ring with his title. I might have missed it, but he has his own music now. Maybe that changed a couple weeks ago, but it's definitely not the New Day music anymore. I have a feeling this happened before, and I just didn't note it. But he's got his own attire, which has been for a while, but he's still sort of half doing the New Day gimmick, half not doing the New Day gimmick. So, again, I think we've got a transition going on. So, back from commercial, it's Big E versus King Corbin. Corbin is flanked by his Knights. This is a non-title match. Just once again, I must say that the Knights of the Lone Wolf make absolute sense.
Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake.
Yep, Blake and Cutler. There they are. And why do Knights dress like video game muggers? All right, no one's going to. What do you think, Lascaria?
It can be over there.
Yes, of course you can. What would you do with those Knights?
Oh, I go and kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I can speak Spanish because my people are watching the show.
Yes.
Know?
Greet your people in Spanish.
Yeah. Yo puedo estar allá y acabar con todas.
Muchas gracias. Beautiful. Yes, Happy New Year to our lovely audience, every one of you. So, all right. So, Sami Zayn joins commentary during this, and Sami is talking about how he's got a documentary to prove his conspiracy that he was robbed of the belt, and he's going to have Michael Moore maybe do the film, but he hasn't agreed to the project yet. In any event, we're not going to do a play-by-play on this match. The story basically is that Sami is being very annoying, and he interferes, and then the Knights interfere as well, and they all attack Biggie. Apollo comes in for the rescue. That cuts to commercial, and then when we at some point, well, actually, I missed something. Biggie did his finisher, and he was about to get the pinfall, presumably, and then all three jumped in to beat him up, and Apollo came in through for the rescue. We come back from commercial, and as WWE's want to do, this is converted into a tag team match: Apollo and Biggie versus Corbin and Sami Zayn.
Can I stop
please?
you?
Yep.
Do you feel like Sami Zayn has the X-Pac heat? Like, just go. Like, I know there's no crowds there right now, but he's not as good as a wrestler as he used to be. He looks out of shape. Do you feel like he's like that X-Pac heat? Like, if there were fans there, I'd be like, just get the hell away. No one cares about you anymore.
No, I think because his promos make sense and he's playing the character pretty well, I don't think he has the X-Pac heat. I think part of what was X-Pac's problem was that everyone thought he was just, part of the clique, and so he was sort of dragged along and nobody really respected him. So I think that was part of it. Sami, I think, is sort of the reverse. He's got this excellent body of work behind him, and he's a IWC favorite. So, no, I don't think he is X-Pac heat, but I mean, I could be wrong. For every one of me, there could be one of you who feels the same way. But we have a tiebreaker here. So, Beatrice, what do you think?
I don't think it gets X-Pac heat. I think that he brings his own style to the heat that he gets from the crowd. Like, you can hear some of them actually cheering him, and then there's others that actually boo him. So I would actually compare his reaction to the reaction that John Cena used to get.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair, but I think he gets mostly regular heel heat. Again, I think he plays his role pretty well. So anyway, this match,
Exactly.
yes.
Mick Foley tested positive for COVID.
Mick Foley?
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
meet and greet. And
Well, that's breaking news here. Yeah, Elvis, apparently we just did.
Well, virtual signing and got COVID somehow.
Best of luck to him. I know he probably took precautions because he's been talking about it.
I think I'm supposed to get the vaccine in the next 2 weeks. I start a new job transporting people from Amazon with COVID symptoms to the hospital. So I think because I'll be dealing with them directly, I'm getting the vaccine pretty quickly. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
How that goes. Yeah.
Well, good luck to everyone out there, and get the vaccine if you're a first responder and in a job that has a lot of exposure. If you don't, be careful and wait your turn.
Everyone get the vaccine so we could go back to our normal lives the way they were before the pandemic, and we could put all this shit behind us and get back to our normal lives, which we haven't lived in the last 10 months. Because
Yes.
COVID started
March.
end of February, beginning of March.
Well, the first recorded case in the United States was January 15th. So, in any event, even Evil Dose wants this to be done because it is very hard to conquer the world when everybody's indoors. And you're really making my plans of world domination difficult. And Evil Dose does not like that. La Sicaria, what do you have to say about this?
Evil Dos Puntos.
Bueno, yo soy la sicaria y puedo hacer lo que yo quiera y pelear como yo quiera en mi mejor camino, in my best way. Fighting in my best way.
Happy birthday.
My God, that was sexy. I don't know what she said. It's hot. All right.
I say English.
So anyway, the story of this is that Sami and Corbin are not on the same page. Sami wants the Knights to assist him, but they keep pointing out they don't work for him. They work for Corbin, which frankly makes no sense because it was a tag team. So they'd be helping both of them. So that was sort of dopey. In any event, Corbin seems to back up their play. And then when they finally get back in the ring, there's some dissension directly between Sami and Corbin. Corbin says, let's go. So he and his Knights of the Lone Wolf, Cutler and Blake, leave, and they leave Sami alone, which, of course, leads to Biggie doing a couple of shoulder drops, which Corey Graves used to make a big rig reference. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling my words, but I was trying to figure out how to get to the big rig reference. For those of you who don't know, that was one of John Huber, a.k.a. Brody Lee, a.k.a. Luke Harper's indie names back in the day, and it was also his nickname, Big Rig, to the into the present. So there was that. That was no accident. Anyway, deep 6 for a 2 count, but then Corbin was distracted with Zayn fussing with Blake and Cutler. It seems like it's gone out of order. But in any event, Apollo ends up pinning Sami Zayn and scoring the pinfall for his team, which was at that point 2 versus 1. We see in the backstage, Kevin Owens confronts Adam Pearce.
Well, before we go to that, shouldn't we discuss the segment we just talked about?
We certainly can. Absolutely.
Talk about the match. The way I understood it, Sami Zayn and Corbin lost, and I believe Big E got the pin, right?
No, Apollo got the pin.
Apollo got the pin.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing they're going to obviously build to some sort of Apollo versus Big E match, I guess.
Correctly.
And one of the I know a couple weeks ago they were asked to make a list of people who are underutilized that can become big stars. And I know that Cesaro was on that list, and Apollo was also on that list. So could we see Apollo possibly getting another push?
Well, it fits within your Big E winning the Royal Rumble theory. I just think that there's not enough time between now and the Royal Rumble for Big E to lose that title legitimately and then win the Rumble.
He could do. Remember the year Cena almost won the Rumble against Batista? He lost it, but I remember he won the tournament a month later to become number 1 contender, and he was still U.S. champion. And then he lost the title about 3 weeks before the title match. So they could obviously run that too.
They could. I'm not sure that WWE would want to do it, but let's see. What do you think, Beatrice? You're our newest hostess, so what do you got?
I actually agree with him. I think that we would possibly see Big E in some kind of. I would actually do a tournament for number 1 contender out of all the ones that are underutilized in the company to face Big E for the title.
I like that idea, but I'll tell you why I wouldn't do all the guys that are underutilized, because then you're going to have to bury some and they're never going to get pushed. If you don't put all of them in, let's say you put 2 of them in and they go face each other in the finals, that does more for them than putting all of them in one tournament and then one guy getting knocked out at the first round. And there goes their push.
I just don't see a tournament running between now and Rumble time, nor between Rumble time and WrestleMania.
No.
I think that there's too much that they already have planned in the way there and just regular feuds. But who knows? We'll see. I mean, they need to perform better for the network, so maybe a tournament is one of the things.
I got to address this comment. No, Cena was the United States champion during the Rumble, and he won a number 1. He came in second in the Rumble. That was the Rumble where Vince McMahon tore both his quads. They messed up the finish. Cena, a month later, I believe it was No Way Out, won the number 1 contendership for the WWE Championship, and then 3 weeks out from Mania, he lost the United States title to Orlando Jordan.
Well, that's a lot of specifics there, so I'm not going to question it. All right. Moving back into SmackDown, the audience can decide for themselves what they think, and hey, give us feedback. You can follow us on Twitter and tell us your thoughts. You can go on Facebook and tell us your thoughts. So interact, and somebody will certainly get back to you. Probably Big Daddy Cool, so he'll think he's saying something funny.
And please like and share this stream.
Right. All of our icons are all around you down there. You can see them. So follow, like, share, rate, review, tell your friends, tell your other friends, tell your parents. Maybe they have friends. I don't know. So anyway, we have to take a commercial break. Hit it. I said hit it.
I don't know where I got it. I'll play it.
Hold on, hey! Shout out to my man Chris, the executive asshole. You brought me on here, man, and we won. So shout out to you.
I will also say that Steve and Katrina were a very good duo, but the only reason how come Steve and Katrina were pulling in good numbers because I had to sit there and carry and bring reasoning and reckoning to that show. So that's what I did for them. And
Reckoning was on the show?
And honestly speaking, whether I am whether it's me and this guy here, or whether it's me and this guy here, or whether it's me and this guy here, well, maybe not you, but whether it's me and this guy here.
I'm so wasted. She's so wasted.
We're going to get to the women's match. All right, and we're back. So, take 3 on Kevin Owens confronting Adam Pearce in the back, and basically he wants the match, and Adam Pearce is very hesitant, saying, you know who I answer to, this is going to cause me problems. He doesn't really say who it is, so, you know, we can assume a lot. We can assume that it's McMahon, maybe it's just Roman and Paul. Who knows? He doesn't say it. He just sort of says, listen, I'll give you a match with anyone else on the roster besides Jey Uso tonight. And Kevin goes, okay, Roman Reigns. Then Adam Pearce goes, ugh. So Kevin basically says, hey, you used to be my boss, and you told me that the only people who mattered were the people out there. So basically he guilts him and coerces him into giving him the match. So Pearce sanctions the match between Kevin Owens and Jey Uso. So no surprise, that match is actually booked. We then are cutting to Apollo and Biggie walking in the back, celebrating their win. Kayla Braxton cuts in for an interview. Doesn't look like Apollo and Biggie are exactly getting along, or, you know, Biggie's a little standoffish. Apollo doesn't seem to be getting it. He seems to be sort of friendly. He wants to touch the belt. Biggie says doesn't touch that. In any event, Biggie says, I'm issuing an open challenge for this belt. And as Dylan predicted earlier, Apollo says, you can consider that challenge accepted. So Apollo Crews challenged Biggie for the Intercontinental Championship next week on SmackDown.
So, sorry.
No, go right now. I was actually afraid you guys have anything to add to that.
I will add to it in a second. The executive a-hole says something's untrue, so I'd like for him to say what was untrue. That's first. I think Apollo. I live in Florida, and I've been going to NXT since 2014, 2015, and they would do house shows all around Florida. And I got to see the end of Apollo's NXT run, and I have to say he's a hell of a talent. And I feel like they called him up too fast to the main roster. If he would have stayed in NXT, this is not my rant. So that's coming later. If he would have stayed in NXT like another year, I think he would have been better off, and it would have made him a bigger star for the main roster. He never got a fair share to really prove himself on the main roster. I have to say Apollo's like one heck of an athlete, and he's a great wrestler. And I think if they actually like put him up against decent guys and gave him time to have a match, a lot of people would be very impressed with Apollo Crews.
He's great. I think he did a great job in the with the U.S. Championship. Beatrice, what say you?
I actually think that a lot of the talent that came up from NXT, like you mentioned, that Apollo didn't get much of a push on the main roster when he first came up. There was a lot that haven't gotten actual push since they came up from NXT, like Ricochet, Aleister Black. They should have a push as well. Not to go off topic, I actually like the fact that Owens pushed Adam Pearce into giving him that match with Jey Uso instead of allowing Pearce to choose who he would actually face. And I actually think that Pearce actually answers to both Vince and actually Heyman. I think Heyman has a say over what Pearce does as well. And then with the Apollo
in real life or storyline?
Storyline.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Heyman calls a lot of the shots with what Pearce does with booking matches.
It's possible.
I think Pearce. Who's this?
The fact checker. The unpopular review official fact checker. All right.
Executive asshole.
No.
Well, you might call me the executive asshole. I call myself the person who brings the facts along. The United States Championship thing that you're talking about, he actually lost to Orlando Jordan.
I did say that.
Before WrestleMania, before he won.
I said 3 weeks out from WrestleMania.
It had nothing to do with what you were saying, though. So I had a fact check.
I'm just saying. I was saying I said 3 weeks out from WrestleMania, and I said they could do that similar storyline where Biggie keeps the title until 3 weeks out or something, and loses the title and then wins the WWE title.
All right. Well, anyway, but yeah, I had to fact check you and let you know what's going on.
I was right.
You're never right. The underutilized talent in WWE right now. You know, you use Ricochet, but nobody mentioned King Corbin as being underutilized from NXT.
Shut the hell up!
No, because we got to talk about King Corbin. Right? He is the king of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Speaking of King Corbin, now he's got X-Pac heat. Would you agree with that, Jeff? He's got X-Pac heat. King Corbin.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Well, luckily, I didn't ask either one of y'all about that opinion because King Corbin is the ruler of SmackDown. There's a reason why he has the Knights of the Lone Wolf out there. He is taking care of business each and every single week. Now, Beatrice, put the camera on Beatrice. Beatrice, I have a question to ask you before I go get drunk.
All right.
You're not drunk when you're saying all this?
I have no idea what you said. Beatrice, you said that there was some underutilized talent. Now you mentioned Ricochet, so I'm sure our director of the night, got all happy and got a bottle of lotion. But anyway, get back. But are you one of the ones that says that everybody from NXT that gets pushed to the World Wrestling Entertainment gets quote unquote buried? I want to hear your opinion on it. I'm interested in hearing your opinion on this.
I think when they first come up, they get buried. I mean, I think that's the point of them actually getting buried is that actually Vince is actually trying to figure out how he's going to use them in the company further down the road. I don't think they're going to constantly keep getting buried. Unfortunately, Ricochet, Aleister Black, and Apollo Crews are still getting buried to this day.
I'm not sure that's the right definition of buried, but different people have different definitions.
So I think Ricochet was getting pushed up until he faced Brock Lesnar at the Saudi show. And then after that, he got buried. Aleister Black was getting pushed up until he got buried once Paul Heyman lost control of Raw. The one guy who got pushed right away and that who I thought was pushed pretty decently was Finn Balor. Keith Lee hasn't been buried. He's been pushed. The War Raiders won the titles pretty quickly, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Street Profits.
All the women.
Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, Bayley.
Asuka. Even
it
Carmella.
was Mari Zayn, too.
Yeah, Kevin Owens. I mean, I think I think it's a popular thing to say that the people from NXT got buried, but I think if you look at it, on their elevation, it's about 50-50, which, if you look at other sports and you look at draft picks in the NFL or baseball or whatever, 50-50 is a lot higher than your average. I mean, most of your NFL draft picks don't even make the team. So, you can look at it half empty if you like, but it's also half full. And let's face it, Ricochet stopped getting his push because he can't talk. And I don't know what people consider buried, but if you're on primetime TV every week, I don't consider you buried. Now, granted, he's lost more than he's won, but he's in a story, and he's usually in a story in the 10 o'clock hour, and that's supposed to be, favored. Apollo's had stops and starts. This is true. Aleister Black, I think, is suffering a little bit for what's happening with his wife right now, but we shall see.
Supposedly, Aleister Black requested to go back to NXT.
Yeah, but he's not being put back in NXT.
No,
he's not. That request will be denied.
It was already denied.
Yes, he even offered to take a pay cut, and they said no, thanks, but no thanks. So he'll be back. Actually, no. I'm not going to fantasy book here. So let's continue with the show. Our next match, we have the Riot Squad in the ring, and it looks like Billie Kay is coming out with a mystery partner, sort of the gimmick that she's been doing the last few weeks. And out comes Tamina, and they're acting like Tamina wasn't her partner last week. So, hey, great pick with Tamina. And then we hear Natty's music. So Natty and Tamina are tagging together, and Billie Kay accompanies them like she's with them, but they're like, we don't want you. We don't want you coaching. So sort of midway through the match, Billie Kay shifts over to the corner of the Riot Squad and starts coaching them. Now, they don't want her, but apparently something she said worked, and the Riot Squad ended up getting the win. What happened was Tamina basically, I don't know if she did it intentionally or not, probably not. She basically missed with the super kick. Commentary cover for her saying that it was grazed. But then Liv came up, Billie Kay did something or other, and Liv rolled up Tamina, got the surprise win, and Billie acted like she was helping them and escorted them back up the ramp, like she was their manager or their spokesperson. And there was a distance between them, but they weren't quite rejecting her, so we'll see. What do you think about the women's match, La Sicaria?
I am ready to fight with the women's match.
For sure. Could you handle any of those tag teams?
Yes.
Okay. There you have it. All right. Any comments from well, listen, it's a women's match, so Beatrice, ladies first.
I actually was impressed with that match. I was actually impressed with that, and was actually shocked that Liv and Ruby actually got the win. I actually thought that with Tamina being bigger, that Tamina and Natalya would have got the win. But then I was kind of confused because of what Billie Kay was doing. She, like you said, she came out with Nat and Tamina, but then she switched teams halfway through the match. Mm-hmm. And then as she was walking up the ramp with them, it was like she stopped and she was posing, and Ruby and Liv were like, we're not having this. And they just like walked off without her. And then she met back up with them backstage.
Yep. So Dylan, you I think you're the kingpin. So being the overlord of crime, you know a thing or two about women.
I really don't understand, because they've really done nothing really with Billie. And yeah, Peyton was the better wrestler, but I don't understand why they broke up both Billie and Peyton. They're doing nothing with them as single stars, and it would have made more sense to keep them as a tag team, because you don't have that many women tag teams in WWE anymore. You have Charlotte and Asuka, you have Nia and Shayna, and you have Riot Squad, and then in NXT you have Dakota and Raquel, but otherwise, and you have Kaden and Casey. Otherwise, what do you really have?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say Dakota and Raquel are a team anymore. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no frequent teams, and that's one of the big issues with WWE is that they don't have teams to challenge for either of the tag teams. I do see a bit of a recommitment on SmackDown. We're up to about 4 teams on SmackDown, which is not a division, but it's better than 2. So
and then we'll see. What happened to the tag champs going to all 3 shows?
Yeah, well, that's a good point, but maybe they think that Shania, well, now it's Charlotte and Asuka. I don't know. Maybe they heard all the, Charlotte's being shoved down our throat stuff, and they decided it wasn't.
I think it's amazing. Yeah, you'll have to wait till the end of the show to get that. And I don't know if it'll definitely be a rant. I got some praising for Hulk Hogan tonight.
Oh, Lord.
For some comments he made on Matt Riddle. So
that's fine. You're going to need to keep that to the end. That's for sure. If you're going to praise Hulk Hogan, you're going to need to keep it to the end. All right. So we then had a recap of last week's the 3 tag team match, which was actually an excellent match. And we saw the end, and that led right into Boss Time. So the Boss and Bianca, B&B, as a team facing Bayley and Carmella, flanked with Reginald, the sommelier. The match started with really good teamwork by Banks and Belair, but at some point during the commercial, which was sort of dopey, Carmella landed a super kick on Bianca's elbow. So the rest of the match, the story was them working the arm. And the heels were acting like the Minnesota Wrecking Crew here. They were cutting the ring in half. They were working that arm. I'm telling you, Arn and Ole would have been proud of these maneuvers. Eventually, there was a tag to Sasha. Bianca was trying to use her braid as a lifeline to Sasha, but then Bayley used it as a weapon, then Bianca used it as a weapon. So that was actually a pretty clever segment. Anyway, there's a bank statement, but Reginald reaches in and pulls Carmella to safety. Reginald involves himself sort of in a cat and mouse game with Sasha, but eventually the cat does get the mouse. But the result of that is that Sasha scores the Mela Buster on Sasha and scores the 3 count. So
is that the Mela Buster, like the thing that Lana used to do to Brie Bella? Like that?
It's like a Bella Buster.
I don't know. Chris, well, the good thing about this, Chris, is you can watch the show later. This is on the internet. It's here forever. People, you can watch the show over and over and over again whenever you like. So anyway, so last week Bianca got pinned. This week Sasha gets pinned, but there's still no rift between them. They're sitting in the middle of the ring, not looking particularly happy, but they're on the losing end again. All right. So any comments on the women's match here? Lasacaria, what do you think?
I think I will doing my bets with a day next.
I mean, that's terrible.
Sorry, my English.
I think everybody understands. That's universal. So, Beatrice, what do you think?
I was actually impressed with the match, with the way it was going back and forth, and how it wasn't a constant upper hand by either team. Honestly, when Reginald got involved, I actually was like kind of hoping for him to actually get taken out so that Bianca and Sasha would have won, but it was a pretty impressive match.
All right. Very good. Dylan, how about you?
I thought it was a good match. You know, Reginald is a former Cirque du Soleil performer. You also have he also is in the PC. When his name before he got the name Reginald is Sydney, I think it was Sydney Bateman or Sydney. But he's very athletic. He's one of the PC recruits. He came in about a couple months. I think he came in January, right before the pandemic. So,
well, he showed off some of that athleticism tonight. He did a backwards triple flip or something. He was all over the place.
Yeah, he was all over the place, and he was really good. So I can't wait. I will say this, and I know I'll get back to talking about the women, but I can't wait to see what he can do in the ring. You know.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm happy enough with this role. I wouldn't even mind her if she's going to keep up this club thing. If she got a doorman, maybe that would be something for someone like Lars Sullivan to do, who they seem to keep on payroll. So what else is a big burly guy? He looks like a bouncer, so that could be a way for him to get some screen time and maybe be transitioned back into a story. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah, why don't you tell us about the women's match? What you thought about it, Kingpin?
I thought the match was good. I'd like to see them push Bianca a little more, because so honestly, out of all the women you had, Bianca's like the only one. Like they say, oh, we have the PC, but Bianca's like one of the only ones who's a homegrown talent that has no wrestling experience from anywhere else. And I think you should push someone like that, Well,
everyone thinks she's going to be facing Sasha in WrestleMania for the title. So,
yeah.
Her trajectory seems to be exactly that. But, we don't know the future, but that's what it looks like, and that's the consensus wisdom.
Yeah.
All right, Lasacaria, any closing thoughts on this women's match?
Oh, okay, yeah. I will do him. Like everything, it's in my dreams with them.
Really? What's in your dreams? Maybe tell us in Spanish.
Maté a tantas mujeres que me cuesta mucho tenerlo en claro.
Excelente. Wow. All right. Next segment, we see the tribe, the world's smallest tribe at this point. I keep hoping for it to grow, but they're backstage and they're not happy about that match being made. Roman wants Paul to find out who doesn't appreciate him, so Paul goes off on a mission. Next, we see the Street Profits coming down in their street clothes, so this is going to be a disaster. They're going to ring in the new year, and it's called the Smoketacular. The big reveal is a drum set, and Dawkins is playing drums. And they're doing some predictions. Frankly, I didn't take notes of what any of the predictions were. Don't care. Maybe someone else can get into them. Roode and Ziggler attack at some point. They use a chair. They throw Dawkins over the barrier, and then they double team Ford. They use the ring post to do one of those reverse wishbones on Montez Ford's knee, and then they start using the chair on him. They're wearing shirts that say Dirty Dogs, so even though they kept calling themselves the Two Aces, it looks like their tag team is called the Dirty Dogs. So I wrote new name with a question mark. And then Kayla interviewed them backstage, and they did refer to themselves as the Dirty Dogs and the Two Aces. And but they say that it wasn't an unprovoked attack. Street Profits have been provoking them for weeks. The fun is over, and they want the titles. So before you guys kick in and give your thoughts, it's time for our next commercial break. So let's get that commercial rolling. Come on, director. Hit it. Commercial.
Now, Steven, I voted.
At least I still show up.
I don't even think I voted for you.
You show up, really? Okay.
Just because of the longevity and the chemistry that you and Katrina had, y'all actually put on a great fucking show on Mondays, and y'all were consistent. So, if we would have lost, I would have rather it been to y'all. But guess what? Me and the executive asshole, we won. So guess what? I would say, outside of Steven and Katrina, I want to thank the other nominees. And Ron, you part of the 3-man trio. The best 3-man team on fucking UPR. But right now, it's time to gloat a little bit. It's a little war show, baby. You know what it is. And guess what? As much as me and the executive asshole bicker or whatever, guess what? We won, baby. So
this is rigged.
Yeah, guess what? I'm
gonna quote.
Hold on, I
for
need
like 2 weeks. For like 2 weeks.
A solo before anybody say anything. Okay. Me and Chris, what the fuck? Like, we the most.
No, Charmaine. No.
We the most bickering.
I love you.
I didn't even know we was fucking nominated together, but I guess.
This is why you don't smoke.
Makes us great.
No, but if you ever want a commercial for truth.com, just listen to a Willie talk. I'm trying to explain to you, right? You and I are entertaining to these hammerniggers who are watching. It is because I sit here and put up with your nonsense. That's the only reason, okay? So just be happy. Just be happy that the only reason how come you win something is because you're with me.
No, Chris, you know what, Chris? I'm not going to let you say that.
Wow, those are some great commercials. Before we get to the Kingpin and Beatrice takes on the last segments, there's a little controversy out there in UPR world. Apparently, Charmaine, one of our top fans, gave an angry face emoji to the show. So, Charmaine, if you're there, send us a message in the chat and let us know what has upset you. What has made you miffed? What has made you nonplussed? Because I am crestfallen over this. Is it my hosting? Is it La Sicaria? It can't be that. It can't be Dylan. It's not Beatrice. She just got here. She couldn't have done anything wrong. So we need to know what it is. And we can try to rectify the situation expeditiously. That said, speaking of expeditious, Beatrice, tell us what you thought about the Street Profits and the Dirty Dogs.
I actually wasn't expecting for drum sets to be under there or Dawkins even playing the drums during that segment. And then I was kind of waiting for Roode to miss Tez with the chair and accidentally get Dolph, resulting in a split up or turn on each other of an accident.
Okay. Dylan, what you got, bro?
I don't think Ziggler and Roode are gonna beat Angela Dawkins and Montez Ford. I think once Jey Uso's the one that's there now, right?
Yes.
So I think once Jimmy comes back, I think they're going to be the ones to beat the Street Profits, and then that's who's going to hold the titles until then. Could be.
All right, don't count out Otis and Gable. Speaking of Otis and Gable, we call that a segue in show business, folks, because next is Gable accompanying Otis and his tag team partner Daniel Bryan, who are facing the team of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Story here is that there's a little bit of Royal Rumble mockery. Shinsuke and Cesaro thinks it's comical that Daniel Bryan's going to win the Royal Rumble. I don't know why. Daniel Bryan has won pretty much everything else in this sport. So the story doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. They didn't quite go with the "you're little" kind of thing, but what other inference could it be? In any event, that seems to be the mockery, not just in a backstage segment that they showed after the introductions, but a little bit in the beginning of the match as well. So the match in the first half was all heels. Cesaro and Shinsuke were dominating. They were throwing Daniel Bryan over the rope. Corey Graves made it a point to say that had that happened in the Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan would have been eliminated. But at some point, Daniel Bryan returns the favor, sends Nakamura over the rope. Otis gets tagged in. He does that tornado clothesline that he's been doing, really more of a lariat. But I like that. I've been noticing since he's been going down to that extra training session, he added that big man move in there. He does the caterpillar. That leads to a near fall, but not the actual fall. But there's a point where Cesaro and Nakamura are sort of back to back. Daniel Bryan is charging them to do the double knee. Nakamura ducks. Daniel Bryan hits Cesaro. I don't know if that's going to lead to a rift between those two down the road, but look for that in the future. Could just be one of those things. In any event, Nakamura does apply a submission on Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan reverses it into the yes lock, and that's the win. And they all celebrate. The faces celebrate in the middle of the ring, and that is it for that match. So, Dylan, you have any thoughts on this one and the Alpha Academy?
Not really. I think What is Daniel Bryan, Otis, and Chad Gable a group now, or that's what it seemed like when they did that pose after the match?
I don't know. I'm thinking it might just be a one-time thing. I don't think it's necessarily for good. What I did notice is that Chad Gable and his coaching is actually now on point. It's no longer miscues and he's doing the wrong thing on purpose, or sort of these reverse psychology Jedi mind game things, which may or may have been true. Seems like they're more on the same page, but you've already heard from me. So, Beatrice, what are your thoughts?
I was like another match. I was actually impressed with this match and how well Daniel and Otis actually worked together during the match. And then when Otis actually did the caterpillar, I was actually expecting Chad Gable to actually stop him from doing it, like he did the one week.
Whoa, who is the director in the back there that is doing those things like bullet fire? Daniel Bryan. Oh, Charmaine, you're back. Good. I'm glad to see you're still participating. Well, see, it's not us she was mad at. I'm not sure if you're right about that. I think that Daniel Bryan might win the Rumble. I think they want to recreate the Yes Movement again because that's sort of the last time WWE was hot.
There's no time though, and if you're gonna have fans make him win, I don't know without fans.
Maybe they still watch him. I don't know. But people love Daniel Bryan, so I wouldn't rule it out. But maybe he gets into the Final Four and that starts a different story. Who knows? But he's definitely going to be he's going to be in the mix. He's not going to be 27th in and eliminated in 30 seconds like John Morrison will be or something like that.
So who was directing in the background was Ricochet's understudy, aka his son.
Are we talking about the technician?
Yeah.
The man of one hold? Okay. And we still have yet to see what that hold is. The Fiend might win the Royal Rumble? I'm not sure the Fiend is going to be in the Royal Rumble, but it's not really that kind of character. I could see it more being Firefly Bray, and I don't see him winning, but who knows? I mean, we'll see. I don't want to make Rumble predictions yet because I don't know who's in it, but I don't see that being the Fiend's trajectory. I think he still has to finish the business with Randy, and then Randy can take 4 months off. Okay, so that's going to take us to a backstage segment where Heyman reports back to Roman that it was Adam Pearce who made the match because clearly they can't watch TV, even though they're watching SmackDown on TV. So Roman basically says to Jey, they're trying to take away all we've achieved. They're trying to take away our accomplishments. Don't let them take away our accomplishments. Man of one hope. Thank you, sir. Sicario, what do you think about this tribal chief business?
It's good.
Yeah. You like Roman, right?
Yeah.
He's a sexy man, isn't he? You don't like the tall, dark, handsome, very muscle and ripped abs?
I don't know what's it.
Thank God you don't, because that ain't obviously that's not that is not this.
Roman looked cooler with a vest, but
no, disagree, strong disagree. You see, he's got abs now, and with those tattoos, you don't hide that stuff with a vest. No. But correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they recently reveal that there was actually a medical reason why he was wearing that flak jack?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think there was something. There was something with a sternum or something.
I thought it was because of the ulcer that he had.
Yeah, that could be. There was some reason, and then I guess he felt well enough in taking off. Anyway, we are now at the main event. So here, this was obviously Kevin Owens, Jey Uso. Hard-hitting, fast-paced match, exactly what you would have expected. But what happened that was a little bit surprising is that KO beat Jey clean with a stunner right in the middle of the ring. Really not too deep into the match, maybe only 3 or 4 minutes into the match. And then Kevin Owens continues to beat down on Jey, saying, Roman, I'm going to take it out on him. I'm going to teach your family a lesson, this, and the other thing. He finds handcuffs conveniently under the ring because why not? He handcuffs Jey Uso and traps him and, beats the crap out of him. He pulls him out of the ring, moves him up the ramp way. He continues to super kick him, and, Jey is basically helpless. He puts him on a table, and then Kevin Owens goes up to sort of I called it the mezzanine, but that's not what it was. It was sort of like the first level between the lower LED lights screens and the second level LED lights. And he's going to do a cannonball or a swanton or something. And he backs up to get a running start. And as he backs up, Roman Reigns clobbers him from behind. See, this is when I was expecting Jimmy to come from behind and do something. And yet again, I was wrong. But one day I will be right. One day. Or those days. What do you think, Sakara?
Allí anda Sicaria from South America. When I am going fight, I go and kill.
Yeah. Excuse me. Okay. All right. So anyway, Roman attacks from behind, and basically then Jey gets himself together. Only his hands are handcuffed. He wasn't handcuffed to anything except himself. And they do a double team. They beat the crap out of Kevin Owens. They use chairs, and then Roman throws him through the very table off the very upper that deck area we were referencing. I referenced earlier, and that's how the show ends. It actually ended 9:57 with the copyright disclosure and assertion. So it was a little bit odd. But it sort of just ended abruptly with Roman and Jey looking down on Kevin, and Kevin basically looking dead again. So, one of the main differences I've seen between AEW and WWE is that in AEW, the feuds, the big matches, take place in the ring with the feuds, but the feuds are more verbal, online, backstage promos, attacks, but they don't face the same opponents every week. And WWE, the feuds, whether they're backstage promos or otherwise, they're also in the ring, that they're always sort of fighting the same people every week. And maybe that's why it feels tedious. Maybe they should try to mix that up a little bit, but that's a little bit of an editorial. So, Dylan, I think I'm going to hand it over to you and then Beatrice, because we're going to close on your rant. So you having 2 segments in a row probably doesn't make sense.
Well, before I go into the rant, I just want to point out that Hulk Hogan did an interview the other day with in promotion of the WWE Legends Night Raw that's coming up. I think it's next week, or is it this week coming up?
Okay.
Is it this week or is it next week?
The Legends Night, I think it's Monday.
All right, so Monday, and he brought up Matt Riddle, and he goes, "I've been watching him. He's got really good instincts. He's got really good aptitude for understanding what needs to be done. It's all about instincts and timing. His timing is off a little bit, but it's starting to come each and every week. So, I mean, he would be the next one I'd put my money on." Hogan famously had similar praise for Kevin Owens years ago. So I think that Riddle's going to be the next big thing. And that's for someone like Hogan to praise you. I know he said stupid shit in the past, but that's a big deal in my opinion. Anyway, I guess it's time for my rant. So,
well, actually,
and it was a fluke.
Well, I guess we're getting the intro to your rant, so let's not. Keep it going. Let's see that intro.
And it was a fluke. They can have fans outdoors. We need to push guys like Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, She was doing a terrible job as a heel until they got into the piece. I am so sick of Jey Uso. Scrap Retribution because they're trash. They're all trash. They're all jobbers. Donald Trump here. This is rigged. I told you so. Do I go?
Yeah, rant away.
All right, so I'm going to rant on everything WWE. So why the hell are we having the Lucha House jobbers appear on NXT? No one wants to see Lindsay Dorado. No one wants to see Grand Metalik. No one wants to see them go for the Cruiserweight titles. No one wants to see them in WWE. They should be part of the spring cleaning and released. Lindsay Dorado is a piece of crap. He needs to be fired and blacklisted from wrestling. He shouldn't be able to go to AEW or any other company. He's trash. Now, on to Sami Zayn. I'm sick of seeing him. Yes, he's a good talker, but he looks like he's out of shape. He looks like a fucking homeless lumberjack. It's time to get rid of him, too. He's not as good as he was 5 years ago. Sami Zayn has gone from up here straight down, in my opinion, and I'm sick of seeing him. It's about time they pushed Biggie. It's about time they pushed Keith Lee. Unfortunately, I don't believe they're going to give Keith Lee a chance to shine in this match. I think they're going to screw him somehow. Some kind of screwy finish where Sheamus comes in and hits a bro kick or someone interferes, because I think Keith Lee is a hell of a performer. Now, the match I would really like to see that I've seen at house shows and on the indies is Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee. Those guys can have a hell of a match, and I wouldn't be surprised if Keith Lee and Drew have a hell of a match either, because, like I said, Keith Lee's a hell of a performer, and so is Drew McIntyre. Like I said last week in my rant, you need to push Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Randy Orton, Cesaro. You know what? Heck, if you give Ricochet manager, push him. And I see this guy backstage laughing, so let me bring him up. There he is. I would also like to see guys. They need to start, like, Rhea Ripley had a lot of momentum after that War Games match during Survivor Series weekend last year. She should have beaten Charlotte at Mania, and when she lost, that killed all her momentum. I think the one thing to do to push Rhea to be the next big star is have her beat Charlotte, and that needs to happen sooner rather than later. There's nothing more for Rhea Ripley to do in NXT. That's my rant.
Excellent. Very angry. Beatrice, we're going to turn it over to you for your comments on the final match of the night. If you can remember it after that rant, if you're not full of emotion.
I thought that the main event actually went a little quicker than what it should have been. It should have took at least most of the time and end the show like a minute early, rather than us seeing Owens beat him in 3 to 4 minutes.
Agreed.
And then him cuffing Jey and beating him, like literally beating him. And it's kind of convenient that the chain between the cuffs was actually longer than what it was for when Jey cuffed Owens in the in Hell in the Cell match last week. So it was I kind of knew something was going to be coming up, but I was actually like you. I was actually expecting Jimmy to come behind instead of Roman.
Yep, they keep saying he's coming back in January, and it's January. So we've seen him in bit parts. So, director, if you can get us all on the screen, I think we can take it home.
I have one question. Didn't they advertise Seth Rollins for this week? What happened to him?
He was nicked.
Yeah, they announced that that's being pushed back a week. I don't know the reason behind it, but I'm not complaining, because Seth Rollins ruins everything. I still say that when he comes back, the first order of business should be that the Roman Empire beats the crap out of him for costing them the Survivor Series match, and then we don't see him again until Royal Rumble. And then if they want to bring him back as a face, you can put him against Jey Uso. You can put him into the main event if you need to, whatever you want to do. But if you want to bring him back as a face, you can. If you don't have to. You can. If you insist on this Mysterio story, fine, but that would be a mistake. I'm saying that in every form I am. All right, everyone. Beatrice, thank you for being with us. Thank you for gracing us and the UPR family with your presence tonight. Kingpin, thank you for your insights and your rant as always. We're all feeling the rage. We have a lot of emotion built up on a Friday night, so that's exciting. We're ready to go. It's the New Year's, everyone. Just because it's 2021 doesn't mean it's necessarily safe outside, so be safe. If you're safe, kiss someone you love on the New Year like this. Mwah. Oh, all right. But you don't have a Sicaria. I do. All right, UPR family. Good night. Everybody like, share, love, rate us. Do everything you're supposed to do. Also check out our podcast, me and Big Daddy Cool, Hammerlock Hangover. It is wrestling. And my other podcast, Garden of Doom. Not wrestling, but you're going to like it. I guarantee it. Anyone have anything else to plug before we say goodnight?
Nope.
All right. Short and sweet. All right, folks. Happy New Year again. Good night, everyone.